Hello, I'm Rajan Patel, and now I'm going to demonstrate our VoIP project under the network security class. Let's start demonstration. This is the first slide. As you can see here, we already have a configured server in my laptop, in my machine, and we are using the market available clients to establish call between different clients. We have added many security features which is not available in the basically in the servers, as well as in the communication channel. Let's proceed for the demo. Before making the call, as you can see here, my server is running, and right now I am in CLI mode. So whenever the clients registered with server, it will be shown the registration successfully or not. That will be message will be going to be shown in the CLI. Before making the call, we have to configure two configuration file. The first one is SIP configuration, another is extension configuration. Basically, SIP configuration have a details regarding the user credentials like user password, username. In extension is basically how the different clients are mapped with each other, how the priority is assigned. So let's first configure SIP configuration file for making or establish the call between different clients. I opening the SIP configuration file. I already prepared one SIP configuration for the demo, so I just copy into the SIP configuration file, and as you can see here, it have a context, internal, bind address, bind port which is assigned 5060, always authorization reject yes, the NAT yes, local NAT, that is my IP address of the server 192.168.0.4. This is the two user that we have created, 7001 and 7002. The secret for the first user is 123, for the second user is 456. It is a very predictable password, but it's just demo. In the real application we can use the password which is not easily predictable. For the both user we have given same internal context. We can give the different context to the different user if we want if we want to assign the different functionality to the different user. If we want to make some restrictions for the calling, we can do with the context. Let's save it. Now I'm configuring the another extension configuration file. It is just copy from my already prepared extension file, so it will save us time. I just copy into the extension configuration file. As you can see here, 7001 is user, another user is 7002. 1 2 3 4 5 is a priority which is assigned. The first will, when the call goes to the server, first answer function is called, then dial, then playback, and then voicemail, and so on. Now I configure SIP and extension. Now I have to go to the server CLI. Okay, in the server CLI right now, we already configure SIP and extension configuration file, so we have to reload it, so it will be permanently stored on the server. So I'm reloading into the SIP reload now command. As you can see, this SIP configuration file are parsed by the server, so now it is stored on the server. Now let make the call. Right now we are making the call without any security features. So, and we also analyzed the call whether it is call is secure or not. So for that reason I have opened this Wireshark tool, which is network analyzer tool, and it is running on my interface. I capturing the SIP packet, so I giving the filter as a SIP, and now the two available market available client that I'm going to be used for making the call. The one is Joyper and another one is Jitsi. This is the two client which is support the VoIP call. So let's first configure the first client. Create new account, SIP, next. Username will be 7001, password will be 123, domain will be my server IP address 192.168.0.4. Next. Okay, it is already added, so registered, you can see here. At the same time, I re-register it. So we can see here in the CLI, in the server CLI, it is showing that registered SIP 7000 at this IP address is the client IP address. Right now the client is running on my same machine, so 04, and the port is assigned 5061. So this client is ready to establish call. Let's configure the another client. Another client is Jitsi. Okay, okay, that will be 7002 at the rate 192.168 0.4. Password will be 456. Right, okay, so 7002 is running inside, 7001 in this machine. Now let's make a call between them, and at the same time I record the call via Wireshark voice call telephony services, which is basically intercept those audio track audio call between the two clients. So I just open this VoIP calls, and now I just try to establish a call between two clients. This is 7001 client, so I just give the 7002 and then make a call. As you can see, 7001 is calling. I just picking the call. Hello, this is a testing call which is established and which is going to be analyzed by the Wireshark. Okay, so I make a one call and I recorded some audio. Now let's move to the Wireshark. As you can see here, this voice call which is we have just made, it is which is recorded by the Wireshark, and let's decode it.
Hello, this is a testing call which is established and which is going to be analyzed by the Wireshark.
As you can see, whatever we have make a call between two client party, the whole audio is recorded, captured by the Wireshark tool. So right now the VoIP call, which is not at all secure. So is the call secure? The answer is no. So what the current security issue that we have seen in the current existing VoIP system. First, Wireshark's sniffing tool that we have used for audio capture, that I'll just uh, give the demo to you. Now the another issues that we have seen in the existing system, that is authentication issue. What the VoIP system basically do is, this is the client, this is server. When the client make the registration request to the server without any credential, the server responds with 401 unauthorized message with www authenticate. This is nothing but the nonce which is provided by the server to the agent. Nonce is the random thresh number. Then user will register by giving the response. How the client generate the response, that is shown here. User or a client have a username, realm, password, and by using the MD5 algorithm they create the hash1. At the same time, by URI and method they create the hash2, and then again hash1, the nonce, this is given by the server, and hash2, and by again using the MD5 algorithm they make the response, and this response which is sended to the server side, and the server again recompute those response and compare with the original response. If that matches, then authentication is established, or we can say the registration is done between the user and client and server. So as we can see here, when we have make a call, our first 4 requests, the first one is the request. As you can see, this is the request which is sent by the client to the server. But in our case, source and destination both are on the same machine, so it will be 0404. So this is the request which is sent by the client to server without any credential. So the next will response from the server to client is, it is unauthorized. And in this we can see server send nonce to the client. Server send the nonce to the client. Now the server is based on their nonce, they will compute the response. They will compute this response, and this response is sent to the server side. And in this you can see, this is the registered SIP. So here the registration is done by server is comparing those response with their original response and make the connection between client and server. So basically this is work like that. We have make one experiment. You can see here we have computed one hash1, hash2. As if somebody able to guess the password, then somebody easily able to calculate the hash1 and hash2, and hash1 and hash2 easily they compute the response, and through the response they can make the connection between the with the server. So this is authentication server. This authenticating process could be forced if somebody can able to guess the password. So what we have do to prevent this issue, so as I just told, if somebody guess the password by brute force attack, this authentication mechanism is totally failed, because if somebody knows the password, username, URI, realm, all these details are itself shown on the message header. So this is nothing secret, only this password is secret. If somebody guess this, easily compute response and make the or fail the authentication process between server and client. So we should have to we think that we should come up with some solution to against brute force attack. So this is the following functionality that we have added in our system. SRTP implementations, that is basically for when we make a call, we can capture the audio between client and server, two client parties. So we have implemented SRTP rather than RTP, which is secure RTP. Second feature that we have added in our system is third party tool, which is running and preventing the brute force attack. Basically it is against the authentication process that we have just discussed. We have the third party tool which is running in our machine, and if somebody try to give the different password, wrong password, then we have right now we have provided like 3 times, it is fine. If somebody try more than 3 times, that IP will be blocked. Third feature that we have implemented is geographically location restriction. That is basically for if somebody calling from some particular region, and if we want to restrict to register to the server from the restricted area, then we can restrict particular area. For example, if some attacker or some group of attackers are trying to hack the server from particular region, for example from Afghanistan area, so we can from their location we can restrict from those particular attacker group to server to make the register with the server. The fourth functionality which is that we have added in our system is log analysis intelligence. Is basically whenever the client talks with each other, when the client registered with the server, the log is generated, and on the basis of log we can come up with a solution that if somebody is trying to make some attack or something like that. So this is intelligence system that we have tried. Actually we have not completed yet, we are still working on that. And the last functionality, that is SSL TLS. That is basically for self-signed certificate, and the certificate it is given to the client by their email address, and then they can easily add those certificate into the client in their as you can see here, Blink reference, this is the client here, this is certificate authority file. So they can add the certificate here in the client, and when they register, those certificates are compared with each other, and whole the system will work in an authenticated manner. So my next goal is to make you see how we have implemented all these features. First of all, let's see SRTP implementations. So for SRTP implementation, we have edited the zip configuration file, and we have added this feature like encryption is equal to true, for both the client and now we will try to make a call again, and Wireshark is again going to observe the call. We'll call from here. Hello, this is a testing call that we have made to check that after implementing SRTP, whether our call is secure or not, or whether it able to capture or not by Wireshark. Okay, so I made one call and I have recorded some audio clip to ensure that whether it is, as you can see here, you go to the player and decode. As you can see here, we are not able to there is a no, this is, you can see here,
Call is secure or
the call is established, but the whatever I have just encrypted sound, which is a noisy total, it is total noisy sound, so anybody cannot capture what actually the recorded. You can see here, this is the totally straight line. So this is how we have implemented SRTP. Another is third-party tool implemented to prevent the brute force attack. For that reason, we have implemented one tool named Heltuben. I would like to see how we have configured those configuration file. As you can see here, whenever somebody is trying to call to the server, maximum retry is 1. I can change it to 3. So if somebody is trying to call and make a wrong password for 3 times, that is allowed, but if more than that, it will be it will be affect on the IP address, IP tables. So IP table basically remove those entries, so IP address will going to be blocked. This is my email address, so somebody which is that will be actually the user email address. So if somebody is trying to make a wrong password with registration, the email address will be send mail. I am just using this functionality, send mail. So the email address will be sent it to the client that somebody is trying to forge your account with wrong password, and the log will be generated in this location * new path. Let me start. Okay, it's not here. Okay, it is here. I started those services Heltuben, and right now we will try to make some accounts. Actually we already have account, so we can also change from that. We have already 7,000 is registered. I unregistered it and I now try to register with a wrong password. Definitely not going to be registered. I tried for 3 times. Okay, with the wrong password I tried for the 3rd times. Again it's not going to be registered. Okay, now I would like to show you the log. This is the old log we have generated in our system. This is the new log, that is a JL asterisk server IP table is started. Okay, another log file where we have put the restriction. I'd like to show you. Okay, so as you can see here, somebody is trying to call from this registration from 7001 failed due to the wrong password. Registration from this wrong password, this is from this wrong password. So log generated, and according to the log I can easily trace out the passwords and who are going to try for the malfunctions. And I would like to show the previous log. So this is how it will be restrict the user. And now I would like to show you the IP table entries. Okay, okay, so far we have seen that how to implement the SRTP by writing the encryption in the zip configuration file. Then we have seen how to implement the third-party tool named fail2bin to the server. So once the user try to guess the password, make the wrong password for three or four times, then the particular IP address is blocked, that we have seen in the log. And then now we are going to implement this functionality, geographically location restriction. So for that I'll make one script that I would like to show you. Basically this is a script which is once the IP address coming from the particular zone, I have already given this to restricted zone, and that is AF and PK. Here AF is for Afghanistan, PK is for Pakistan. So my intention is to block all the traffic from these two countries. So what I'm trying to do is, once the packet which is coming from this region, I just put one, I just remove it, drop it from the IP table. So I would like to show you how it works. I'm running this script which is stored on my desktop. You can see here this af.john and pk.john which is downloaded and stored, and from particular this IP it will deny. So I would like to show you the IP tables behavior. You can see here one country drop, one entry which is added to the IP table. So when somebody is coming, one packet which is coming from this, it will be dropped out. You can see here one which is from AF country drop, this particular source which is dropped. You can see whenever the packet which is coming from this country, it will be automatically dropped by the IP table. So because I have put those compulsion on the IP table by writing the drop command, so this is how it works. I can add whatever the particular region or network or domain from where there is a high chances for attacking the UIP server. So this is working well. Okay, now I'm going to show you the this function like self-signed certificate for SSL and TLS. So for the security, what we have done is we have implemented SSL and TLS feature. For that, our first task is to generate the certificate. So I've already generated certificate. I would like to show you. This is this already generated certificate stored in the key directory 7001, which is for the 7000 user is there. So this is for the 7001 user, this is for the 7002 user, this is CA, this is basically a certificate authority, and this two certificate 7001 and CA certificate, which is distributed to the client by email or another secure communication channel, and how it can be used. So before using, we have to make some changes in our zip configuration file. As you can see here, TLS enable yes, binding at for TLS bind address 0000. This is certificate file locations for the CA certificate and extract PM, and then client method TLSV. So this same functionality that I'm going to add into the zip configuration file. Okay, now we have our two clients that is already registered. Okay, and for that client, what we have to do is we have to add the certificate. Get registered. Okay, first of all, let add certificate from here. It is right now it is stored in my file etc asterisk key directory. This is 7001 user, so I'll put the 7001, and I'm also giving this CA certificate from here. This is already I have given the directory path. Okay, now my goal is to give the password and register. Okay, you can see here server this client is registered with server with TLS SSL feature. Now for this client, same as above, we have browse, and this is also there, so we can take from here also 7002 TEM, and this is okay, it is there. So in this way to client is ready. And now my next goal is to make a call. You can see here this call now, which is
Nobody is available to take your call at the moment.
okay. So in this way we have also added this TLS SSL features in our system. And then the last feature that we have worked on that is log analysis intelligence. Is nothing but we have analysis many logs and how the behavior changes when somebody is trying to attack, when somebody is trying to capture through any sniffer tools, how the logs are generated on, and on basis of the behavior of log, how the system make decisions. We have not make any program yet. We have just take this ideas and started to work on that. We have not completed yet, but I would like to show you how we can decide from our log. So this is my already created logs that I would like to show you. As you can see here, when somebody is trying to call, it is like this registration from this particular, it will be shown here. Same as multiple times I have tried. So all this different type of the logs are generated, and on the basis of log we can predict if somebody is trying to hack to our system. So we have not designed particular GUI for that, so how to make the decisions, but we have added some rules. That I would like to show you. Okay, this is the rules that we have added. When somebody is registration, then it's failed, then show the wrong password, then non-matching peer found, username authentication mismatch, device does not match. So based on this script, whenever somebody is trying to call, the log is generated with this readable error message, and from this readable error message we can easily predict the behavior of the hackers or what their intention is. So this is how the error that we have shown on the logs, because of this configuration file we have already configured that. So this is all about the security features that we have implemented in our system. Thank you.